Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
time for the In the Queue podcast with DJ Greggy C, Greg Curran, and David Hanscom. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live. Just search for In the Queue podcast or go to inthequeuepodcast.com. Please like our show and share this broadcast to show your support and pass on the good karma to help educate everyone how to be the best entertainer they can be. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notified when we go live, which is every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now, let's hear it for DJ Greggy C. and David Hanscom.
Howdy doody.
That never gets old.
I know, right?
How are you?
I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you saw it in a private chat, man, but I was like, we should probably make a shorter one of these. I don't know. What do you think?
Back in the days of the old casting, we always would open the room up, and then the room would open up for like not a half an hour, about 10, 15 minutes for it to populate, because it always took a minute for the people to populate. So, I mean, I don't mind it unless people say, to hell with it, we don't like it. Things of that sort. So, I kind of like it. It gives time to, for people to come in, like Reynolds, like Carol, like everybody else. So,
hello, let's say hi to a few people, right? Reynolds out there checking us out. Appreciate you. Yeah. Carol, our, friend at name, who's always taking good care of us and showing us love.
That's true. So how was your week?
It's been good, man. It's been good. I did a 3-day event production last week that went really, really well. Had a couple of little internet glitches, which, it's always fun to remind, remind our clients that the internet is one thing we don't have control over. They often forget that we don't have control over the internet as much as we want to have control over it. We just don't. You know what I mean? So, hey guys, I'm just flashing everybody's messages up here. Welvin,
love you.
Good to see Welvin checking in, man. I haven't seen him in a minute. God, that guy's so cool. Kristen checking in. What's up? Brandon checking in.
Nice.
But yeah, dude. So that that's one of those things where the internet situation can be sometimes can be a real pain in the ass. You know what I mean? So I think it's just important that when you're working with a client that the puppeteers still want to go live with you. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, well, actually, the puppets are coming in on the 31st, I think. Don't we have them set for the 31st?
I think so.
Puppets on the 31st. So, but go ahead. You were talking about the internet crazy.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're ever doing a production situation and you're working with a client where the internet is necessary, I think it's just smart to make sure that they understand, like, we don't have control over the internet. As much as we'd like to, we just don't have control over the internet. So we're going to do the best we can with the internet that's provided to us. Also, obviously, a hardwired internet is much preferred over wireless. But I'll tell you, even we had a hardwired internet, and even then we had a glitch maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the day. But I figure at like a 9-hour day of constant streaming, 2-way conversation and all of that, to only have it glitch 2 or 3 times for about 2 or 3 seconds each time is pretty golden. I'll take that all day long.
Nice, man. Very cool.
So other than that, it was a lot of fun. And then did some cool events over the weekend. And here we are again. It's already Monday.
Wow. It's already Monday. Wow. All right. Quick question. Then I have a quick learning point that I learned.
Okay.
A couple quick questions. One, do you use any of the Black Magic stuff when you're out there doing the streaming and things like that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. What do you got? The ATM, the little Pro, or
the ATM Mini Pro? Love it.
Nice. Oh, good. All right. So that's a good piece of machinery. The other piece of machinery, what did you say? The Midas, the 12 you were talking about last week.
Yep.
Damn thing's not available anywhere. Thank you, coronavirus.
I might have bought the last one then.
You know what? I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, that's the same day. Well, they have the 18 at one of the glue properties. I'm like, that's the exact sucker that we plug into on the wall. And they connect it, to the main mixer with one cable, runs the whole way. But yeah, that's a gem, that piece. So
well, I got Shane to thank for that, who will be bringing on with us here in a little while again tonight.
Here's my question to you: do you use a controller on the road?
Like if I'm going anywhere outside of here locally.
Yeah. Or here, how about this? Do you use any type of Pioneer controller and or mixer like an S9, S11, or anything like that?
I don't use any of the Pioneer products, and that's not by choice. It's just that I bought a Denon MC7000 a couple, sort of right when they came out.
Okay.
And have just always loved using it. But I do like Pioneer products. So when I first started DJing, I was definitely using Pioneer products, like the little CDJs and all of that stuff when they first came out.
Right.
I was using those, and then for whatever reason, I just ended up with this Denon. I don't know if it was on sale. I don't know if the Denon guys, gave me a reach around at one of the conventions or something like that. I don't really remember what the reason for it was. But for some reason, I just started using that, and I've been using that ever since.
All right. Okay. Well, I learned a while ago. I mean, they have I guess they call their 3 levels. I call the SB is their entry level. The SR is the middle of the road, and then the SX and SZ and S, whatever you want to call it, XXYZ, the whole way up. With the big 4 channels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. So I learned, and I have an SR, and I like bringing that out on the road. It's small, compact, easy. It's powered, and I learned that if you don't plug it in, that eventually, it's whether it goes to sleep or something happens where the sucker will go into a default, and there's a little sensor. It's called the sensor button that usually reverses the song for a second when you press it. The whole unit goes into a default mode and will shut down if that power is not in it, and it will eventually even freeze Serato, something that is sometimes rare with that program. But I found that out recently at one of the larger clubs. I had one of my guys, to be mentionless. I didn't hook it up, but I would have probably done it that way because we had to be quick. They had an S9 hooked up, and what he did was he hooked a girl's controller in through one of the channels on the S9 because the main outs were already going into the main club system, their $10,000 amp. And then the monitors, which were powered speakers, were going through the booth. So with that said, the USB was not plugged into the S9. Okay. And because of that, the sucker went to sleep about 15, 20 minutes into this girl's show, and the whole club went dark. Like, that's never happened there. That's normally crazy. If something happens with the amp, you still hear the monitors, and people can still jam, and they're kind of not affected. It's weird, but with this was bad, and I jumped to attention, got it fixed quickly. I knew exactly what to do, but in thinking like what's going on, what happened, and I saw the mixer because there's a little button right in the middle of it, and it started blinking. I said, this sucker's going into it's like a shutdown or a default. I don't know if you ever knew about that with any other products, or if it's ever happened to you, or just telling anybody that if you have a powered controller, to always use that power, even though people, you don't need to power the USB, it'll take care of it. Not necessarily that either, or don't use any of these fancy, $2,000 S9, S11, mixers as a way. You know what I'm saying, as something like a line mixer, because if the sucker is not powered both ways by AC power and by USB, it's going to shut down on you. We learned the hard way. And
it happens, right?
It's just something I wanted to mention. This is the perfect medium to mention little nuggets like that.
It's a perfect lead into our tech talk with Shane,
right. And I wanted to know if anything has happened, and if Shane, Shane, it's this perfect way to say, hey, let's bring in our 2 guys, because they're here again, our 2 co-hosts that hang out, or actually, they're correspondents on the spot. How is it?
These are our road our correspondents on the road, right?
Correspondents on the road. Yes. I love that.
Our tech correspondents or whatever. All right, so I'm going to bring them in a second. Before I do that, though, just to remind everybody that's tuning in, we have a couple of guys from the Harvest of Sound show that's coming up that I'm super excited about. We have Tyler and Chris are with us tonight. They're going to be on in just a little while to talk a little bit more about this awesome show that I can't wait to be going to, in the best city ever on the planet. Just my personal opinion. I know I'm probably going to get some disagreements in the comments, but it's my favorite city. So there's that.
What city is it? What city? Boston?
Baston, baby.
Baston. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. So one other thing I want to mention. Anybody who does these things knows that it costs money to do this. And most of the time we don't get paid anything to do this, which is great. It's a labor of love. But I did apply for a grant for a little bit of money to help us continue to keep the podcast things going. In this grant, there is an opportunity for people that watch the podcast, people that support the podcast, to just submit a quick little letter of support. So I'm going to post a link to that in the comments.
Okay.
And if you so desire to just click on that link, it costs you no money. All it costs you is a couple of minutes of your time. But if you so desire, we would love for you to support us by just clicking on this and just leaving a quick message.
Oh, wait a second.
Tell them you love us or something like that, and that would be helpful. All right, so only if you feel inclined. All right, cool.
Oh, there it is.
All right, done with that. Let's move on to our correspondent on the street. First off, we're going to bring Mr. Shane Ryan in to join us for our Tech Minute, 5 minute, whatever it ends up being. Here we go. Shane, what's up, brother?
How are you guys doing this week?
Hi,
Good,
Shane.
good.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing? How are you guys
I'm
doing?
digging that hat you got on, man. That's pretty fly.
Yeah, man. Waves, all the waves.
Love
All
it.
right. Anyone that does any music production will know what this little symbol means. All right.
Yep.
You guys had an exciting weekend, man, David.
No, it's been
I was
crazy.
really
What about you,
impressed with
man? What did your weekend look like?
Part of the TED Talk this week. So my weekend was doing data management. So we all know, yep, it is one of the biggest issues that comes with DJs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Controlling our hard drives. Basically, we all know that organizing our crates and stuff like that is very important for what we do, keeping away from Serato face, all right? But organizing our hard drive and making sure that you have your music backup is very important. And I want to remind all the DJs out there that if you have not formatted your hard drive within the last 2 years, it is due for a format, all right? And if you're using a hard drive that's older than 5 years, all right, I think it's time to retire that hard drive, all right? I think it's a good idea. And the reason being, I was doing some research on my hard drive. I had a hard drive for 9 years strong, running my main primary music for 9 years strong.
Wow.
And I decided to sit it down and retire it. I dedicated it to the PlayStation. Now that's the external hard drive for the PlayStation. But I said, you know what? It's time for me to upgrade my hard drive and to also make sure that my music is well backed up. So we're talking data management, backing up our music and having, Greg is always a man, have a backup for the backup. So what I did over the weekend, I sat down and I transferred all of my music from my primary hard drive to a new Lacy hard drive. It's a pretty cool hard drive. You guys should check it out. And
Yeah,
David,
Lacy's
you could probably
great.
put it in the link after the show. It's a strong, rugged hard drive, stainless steel body, shock resistance, rubber around it. And this is something that I really wanted to invest in because I found myself doing like a little bootleg over the years, rugged, like little padding around my hard drive. When I say bootleg, it's very bootleg. So I used to pick up all the koozies that I could get from a wedding, right? The little cup holder koozies. And I said to him one day, oh, this would be great to hold my hard drive. And I was carrying my hard drives in these little koozies. I got hard drive koozies from weddings all over it. But this year I said, you know what? It's time to get serious. So I invested in that hard drive for my main hard drive and my backup hard drive. And so because I take my backup hard drive with me, right? Now, this is one thing I wanted to increase on and definitely stress that having your music backed up on a hard drive that's not your main hard drive on your actual gig is very important. But you still have to have a backup that's nowhere near you on that day. So you need to have 3 backups minimum, right? But what I did over the weekend is I also invested in some cloud storage, and there we go. See, there we go. Greg, 1, 2, 3. All right, minimum, because you take your main hard drive, you got your backup for your main hard drive on the gig, and then you have your backup for the backup at home. All right, but then what let's say something weird happens over the weekend. See, there we go. Greg is a perfect example right there. He got hard drives on top of hard drives. Let's say something really weird happens over the weekend, and you say your hard drive goes down, your backup falls in a pool when you were getting it, or when you were packing up after the gig. So your hard drive and your backup is gone. And let's say the dog ate your backup hard drive at home. You still have to have a backup for that is nowhere near your actual physical residence. And this is where cloud storage comes in. And this is where you guys really have to take into consideration what is your most valuable music. Organize that and at least minimum have that on cloud storage. I know when I checked out mine, I had 600 gigs of music.
Wow.
It's way too much, right? But when I actually broke it down to like my most important, most valuable records that I definitely play all the time, 100%, right? I only have about 150 gigs or so of very important music. So making that small investment with some cloud storage websites like Google, you can use Google, you can use Dropbox. There's so many out there. I know there's one that actually you can purchase with a hard drive. It's a cloud storage and a hard drive. But that is actually a big investment. I'm going to probably looking at in the future. But my TED talk this weekend is data management, having backups, and taking the time out. You know, when you don't have a gig, I didn't have a gig this weekend. So I took the time out to back up my music. And also I do music production as well, guys. So I kind of also backed up all of my music production samples that I used to have on my hard drive, actually on my computer's hard drive, actually slowing down my computer a lot because it was carrying around gigs of hard drive for my production softwares. You know, I have a DAW software and I also have Native Instruments machine with complete, you know, the complete record, complete 12s. And I had to back up all of that because I wanted to have my computer running smoothly, right? And I wanted to make sure that all of my data is well organized. I know which hard drive to find what. And also, I know that my state of mind is at peace now, that I the worst could happen, and I'm going to have music that can continue and play. So that's my TED Talk. That's my TED Talk.
All right. I loved it. Can I add a couple things? Can I add a couple things real quick?
Of course, it's what it's all about.
Hey, you know what? Before you go, Greg, before you go into that, I'm going to bring old Spinning Vince in. So if he has a little bit to add to this before we bring up
Spinning Vince.
All right.
Well, here, really, I wanted to add this to Shane's thing, and I'll be quick and I'll be quiet after that. No, not really. Please be careful if you're going to use the cloud, because the cloud, I've given back, and Vince knows this, at the big commercial wedding company we worked for, thousands, and I can say that, thousands of dollars of independent contractors, we call them ICs, across the nation, multiple different states that relied on Virtual DJ's cloud service. They relied on some type of cloud to store their music, and they did not get internet correctly where they were at their event. Point one. Okay? That's point one. Very important. Two, I love the Lacey. As a matter of fact, I think that Lacey is probably one of the best darn hard drives that you can get, next to the what is it? These solid state. See the size of that?
Yep.
Look at how thin that is. It's like the size of, I don't know, 8 or 9 credit cards stacked on top of each other. And that's a 2 terabyte. And I held the 3 up because I wanted to say, you know, this is a 2 terabyte here. Powered, though. You plug it in, and it's a USB 3.0. This is a USB 2.0, but it's USB powered. And it's the evolution of the hard drives. And then here's another one on top. But really, when you're going to do that and you're going to upgrade, really look at the solid state, the smaller ones. And this is actually USB-C powered. with it. And Shane, are you still around there, buddy? You hear me? He talked about formatting.
Come out.
And my question was when he talked about a format.
Yeah,
we don't want to reformat our hard drives again. I think we need to what is it? I forget. Defragment. Do we want to defragment our hard drives if they are, a few years old, Shane? Because you talked about formatting them. I understand about formatting them in the beginning, whether it's a Windows or a Mac PC. And we might even need you to do a quick tech support on talking about the difference between transferring music between a Windows and a Mac, because I have guys and gals that listen to this podcast that are students that confuses them, or if they wanted to add music, from their Windows machine to a Mac or vice versa, it becomes very confusing on the way they have to format their hard drives. So with that said, that's for another show, and you're going to there's some food for thought for that. But
just quickly to answer that question,
please go
really quickly. So I am actually one of those guys that I use a personal, all my production is on a PC and everything I do at home is on my PC, and my backup laptop is a PC. I've been using PC for many, many years. I've only purchased a MacBook Pro Christmas last year. So I'm one of those persons that's transferring music and downloading my music on my PC and using it on my MacBook Pro for my DJing. That's all that does, DJ. Okay. So when you format, and there's a difference between formatting and defragging. Defragging is more for your personal hard drive, where you're collecting cache and stuff like that you're going to have all these temporary files that needs to be fragmented and actually put in a condensed file that your computer does. Formatting is completely wiping your hard drive, right? Because what this does, it completely cleans the hard drive back to new. Is this basically like a factory reset? It completely cleans your hard drive. It takes away any little things that you probably would have collected, maybe with bad file transfers and stuff like that, and starts you from fresh. And it's recommended that external hard drives, because we're always ejecting it and stuff like that you format your hard drive. Is actually recommended at once a year, right? Okay. I say minimum 2 years. Right?
That's a lot of work. Now, with that being said, Shane, there's two different types of format, at least that I'm familiar with. Hold on, Vinny.
Yes.
There's a low-level format that takes a while, and then there's a quick format that takes about 10 minutes.
I did a quick format. From my research, the quick format was perfect. But then, if you're a Mac user and a PC user, you're transferring all your files via the two systems, you have to make sure that you format your hard drive to EXF. ET, I think it is, or FAT.
XFAT.
It's only two. XFAT.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And Matt Peterson with wow, great point. So, all right, Vinny, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's get Vinny in real quick, and then we're going to jump to our guests.
I have maybe a time saver for what you were just talking about, Shane. So before I use Virtual DJ, before 5-6 years ago, maybe even longer, my software could not read the Apple Music, MP4s, and unless you sucked them into iTunes and all that crap.
Yes.
Now, Virtual DJ will recognize any format music and play it in the player. You don't have to change it to one format or the other. Whatever format you have, it'll play it.
Yes, that was one of the updates. That's all. Yeah. It'll play AIFFs, like all the crazy stuff. It'll play everything.
So no need to change your music over.
Okay, good point.
All right.
Those that have virtual, and they, if they don't know it, and I think it came recently over the coronavirus, their update, because somebody else said exactly that they can now do that as well.
Correct. And
Virtual DJ is amazing software.
Shane, you're scaring me. You told me that I shouldn't be using my hard drives if they're more than 10 years old.
From my research, external hard drives needs to be reformatted every year. and also, yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, this is just general manufacturer.
James,
We
even
all
if it's
know.
even if it sits in the box, even if it sits in the box and does nothing.
Well, I'm talking about your main hard drive.
Your main, not the one you use.
Backups.
Not the car in the garage, the car that you drive.
I would never. Yes, exactly. I would never.
Thank you.
I wouldn't reformat my my external hard drive that I'm not using. But if you're not using an external hard drive for 10 years, I hope you're checking your backups, guys.
Yes.
Because these things can still get cold joints and still, that's from not getting no electronics going through it. Check your backups and make sure your backups are still working, right? Because as I said, I had a hard drive. It was a diehard for 9 strong years.
Nice.
Of every single weekend, when just constant work. So, and this is the if you guys
love
the hard drive I was mentioning about.
The rubber around it, shockproof. That thing is beautiful.
I'm very happy. It's a little bit more, but I think it's worth it for what we do.
Yeah.
Right? But anyway, that's our tech talk for this week.
Awesome.
Thank you, Shane. And I'll tell you the other thing too to remember, everybody, is that I think just like Greg, we were talking about earlier. You mentioned Pioneer. I talked about Denon. I think sometimes we have to remember to not get so lost in the brand and all of that stuff. You got to use what works for you, right, and what makes the most sense for you. And also, everything that's ever offered from a tech talk standpoint is based on the research that the person did and is based on things that they found that's worked for them. So just remember, as a listener, as a watcher, everything we say it's maybe not always gospel. It may not apply to you.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, if it can help you out, then you know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. So,
good point.
All right. Look at there.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you for Shane's Tech Talk tonight. Thank you, bud. All right.
I use just to piggyback on that. I use Newmark just because I like the lettering.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Newmark, that's cute. All right. So you want to introduce our guests? Let's bring them in, man. I'm excited.
Drum roll.
You doing it or am I doing it?
You want to? I mean, if you haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, I probably should, huh?
Why not? Hey, man, if you would like to, here, let me pass the torch to you, okay?
Thank you for passing the torch to me,
ladies and gentlemen.
And you know what's so funny is I feel so unprepared to do so tonight because I had to use my laptop at the last minute. All right, here we go. All right, you guys. So if you know me, I love education. I cannot get enough of it. I cannot get enough of education. I not get enough of community. I cannot get enough of just being around like-minded people. And so when I found out about this show coming up in December, it happened last year, and it was kind of and Tyler and these guys will be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first one was kind of like an impromptu thing, but they had a hell of a great success with it, and they said, let's keep this thing going, okay? So it's called the Harvest of Sound, and it's an amazing event that's going to be happening in Boston and in December. And they've got some great speakers. They got some great tech going on there. And instead of me reading the bio, I'd rather just bring the guys on that are actually putting the show on and let them tell you guys about it. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Tyler Wallace and Mr. Chris Carr onto the show to join us, guys.
What's going on?
How are you?
Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
All right, Tyler. So I'm going to put you in the spotlight, man. Tell us a little bit about the Harvest of Sound event, how it became, why it became, and maybe share a little bit from last year's experience.
Yeah, so it's funny because Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually started in a Facebook group. People were talking about how there's no shows or ability to have all these speakers in one spot, have the ability to listen to them all together under real world conditions. I mean, you can go to like Guitar Center or any music store and you can hear speakers, but you're in a small room that's not going to give you the reverb. It's not going to give you the power factors. It's not going to give you the ability to back up and hear the speaker at the back of the room. So probably 10 years ago, Chris, 10, 12 years ago, there was a ADJA of Massachusetts meeting at my uncle's office at the time. And it was just, there was like 10 of us. We got together. We all brought speakers in and we set them all up. And, it was like we called it the speaker shootout. It was a good time. and everybody got to hear the speakers, again in a small office, and back then this was when powered speakers were first coming, out like hard, and that's when we had the QSCs first come out. We had the first series of the PRXs were out. We had the Yorkvilles and stuff like that. So I mean, everybody was saying that they don't have the ability to hear all these speakers side by side under real world conditions. So me and Chris were like, why don't we throw this again? Why don't we do this? And originally it was going to be at my office space because I have, I think it's like 2,500 square feet of just open like common area. And, so originally that's where it was going to be. And, Chris did some, promotion and stuff like that. And we started pushing it. I think, was it 3 weeks before we did it?
About 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I think we started like middle of this November. We started, saying, hey, we're going to have this get together. We'll have speakers there. Ben Stowe from NLFX came out. He ran the shootout for us. He did all the testing. It was kind of impromptu, David. You were 100% correct. There really wasn't much planning that went into it. But we ended up with 165-ish people from about 24 different states come out.
Wow.
And we survived actually bringing other DJs to bring their own systems, their own array systems.
Yep.
Instead of asking for the dealerships to bring them or anything like that, it was everybody came in. It was like a whole camaraderie of people coming together, which was really great. I mean, telling Tyler before, we had looked at this in Facebook and goes, can we do this? Can we actually put this together in 3 months? And Tyler goes, hell yeah. We did. I mean,
that's the basis. So we decided just to carry it.
Let's bring it all together.
100% pop-up. I mean, like I said, there was very, very little planning. It was a hodgepodge of, speakers and people bringing stuff in. And I think we ended up with we had like 9 different subs. We had 8 or 9 different column array systems.
Nice.
And I think
pulling out plugs, like we got to plug this. We're gonna put this.
We blew a few circuits that night, but it was a good time.
Nice. Well, you guys have a promo video for this as well. I was thinking,
yes.
You know what? I think I'm going to try to share that if everybody's down for that.
Sure.
Yeah, that was a cool video. That was the one that you guys sent us. That was really cool.
Yeah, Matty Chillin McMillan. He's actually on the board with us. He's one of the people that's responsible for helping us put together this year's event. He took all of the video that you're going to see and he put everything together. So yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and play that for everybody then, and you guys can get a little bit of a taste from the one from last year.
Check this out, guys. It's really cool.
All right, I'll be honest with you. I am. Here we go. Okay. There, play it over here.
Oh, it's lagging bad.
It totally takes away from it. That video was awesome. Nah.
You want me to share it? I can share it.
I'm wondering if it's the same.
What is supposed to be different?
So there's music and it's kind of all edited together so it like flows.
There's Mikey.
It's not so choppy.
Windows, Air System Audio.
Yeah, these are actually all videos that are spliced together. It's just not showing the videos.
Yeah.
All right, is it not playing right?
No, do you want me to share it?
Yeah, if you want to. I don't know what the hell the problem is on my end.
See if it works on your end.
It's playing like thumbnails of each beginning of each video.
Oh, was it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all said that because I'm over here jamming to it.
Oh, no, yeah. and literally, it was like maybe like, I don't know, one frame every like second.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this again. Here we go.
That's what I said. It was taking
forever.
Here we go.
We can't hear the audio.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Ooh. Now it is.
Now it's working.
Thank you, Doug.
So all those line arrays are actually brought in by other DJs. All right. It's a great thing to have the community come together and actually see how they fend with each other, you know?
This is awesome.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hanging out is fun.
to call it geeking up. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, there's Chris. There's Tyler.
So did you guys take a survey at the end?
Of what?
Of what everyone thought was the best speakers under the certain conditions?
They were all good in different variations. I mean, one was better one way, one was a bit louder that way.
And did you save that information?
Sure did.
There's Ben right there.
More than 9 subs.
Yeah, it's nice.
Getting pizza for DJ Ray.
Wow.
It was Rachel's birthday that week. Was it Rachel's birthday that week?
Shooties.
Oh, right. There she is, birthday girl.
You know we're all jamming. All DJs love to dance. You know that. Right?
Team Ragoza.
Nice.
It's a great concert.
Oh yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah.
They are awesome.
We went there. It felt like it was back in the paradise. The Rock Club was on.
Everybody in the house, make some noise right now for Team
Yeah. So the rest of it is just sponsors and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that was great, man. That was great. I mean, you know, you can watch that video and see the camaraderie, especially if you know a lot of those guys, knowing where they are in different parts of the world or the United States or whatever, and seeing them all come together like that. And I think size-wise, it's like a perfect size to really have the opportunity to rub elbows with and connect with people that you may have only seen on, you know, Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, we had we had Ernie Lara from Washington, we had Gabriel Gazzaro, we had Michael Villa from California, Joe Bunn came out, you know, Aaron Trailer, Glenn Renda, you know, the whole crew came out. And you know, I mean, like you said, it's one of those things where the first year was the perfect size. I mean, it was under 200 people. You know, we did this one for free. You know, me and Chris, you know, handled the costs and stuff like that. You know, Chris has some connections in some areas, so you know, it helped a little bit. So, but yeah, I mean, this year we're kind of taking what we did last year and building off of it. So this year we're still doing the speaker shootout like we did last year. It's going to be, you know, much more official. It's going to be more put together. There's going to be a lot more, you know, construction put into the actual shootout as far as what gets tested, when it gets tested, and how it gets tested. Exactly. So everybody will come in and they'll have the ability to see the, you know, the specs of each speaker. They'll be able to see the report from Ben that, you know, he's already going to compile all the tests as far as, you know, peak dB, pink noise response, you know, full frequency sweeps and stuff like that. So that stuff's already done. So they're not going to come in there and, you know, hear the same, you know, pink noise that they heard last year. That was one of the things that kind of irritated a lot of people. Not really irritated, just it was one of those things that had we have planned it out a little bit more, had more time to plan it, we would have probably done all that stuff before people came in. So that's what we're doing this year. So then this year when they come in, it's just going to be, you know, Ben giving the rundown of the speakers and then putting the speakers to the test, you know, as far as like music and response and stuff like that goes. So it's going to be a little bit different than last year. And then we're going to also have seminars, something we didn't do, last year. We had a little, sneak peek. We had Gabriel Gazzaro do one of his pep talks. Chris, what was he on for about 20 minutes or so?
About 20 minutes, yeah.
And the place went nuts. I mean, they absolutely went nuts. His speech was one of the hardest hitting speeches, I've heard, and I've been to 15 different seminars. So, he's coming back this year. He's gonna Glenn said he loves pink noise. Gabriel's coming back, but we have to have the fantastic duo, Jordan Marshall and Big Daddy McGee come in and host it. They'll host the main event, they'll host the speaker shootout, and they'll host the seminars. And then our keynote this year is actually somebody who's never spoken at a seminar before. He goes to all the conventions. He's known, through YouTube and stuff like that. So we actually have Cleveland Terry coming in to give the keynote this year.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously everybody's seen him, throughout COVID and stuff like that. He's really built up his YouTube channel. He's gotten a following, and just overall his outlook on the industry and stuff like that is just, it's amazing. So, we decided to get him in and get him giving the keynote. We have Joe Bunn coming out. Joe Bunn's going to give one of his awesome seminars. We have, like I said, Gabriel and Mike Villa. We have Brian Smith doing a breakout session for SoundSwitch, which I don't think there's been a SoundSwitch breakout session at any of the other seminars yet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so anybody that wants to learn SoundSwitch, Brian is like a super intensive SoundSwitch user. He's actually one of their beta testers, and he's also one of the mods on their user group. So he's actually one of the official mods for SoundSwitch. And then we have a couple other people that are coming out that we haven't announced yet, but we will be announcing them in the near future.
When and where, so we can put it up, put this up on screen, Dave, and put it in the chat. When, where, exactly? Yeah.
So we're doing 2 days this year instead of one. It's gonna be at the Revere Hotel, Boston Common, right in downtown Boston. It's about 8 minutes
site.
8 minutes or so from Logan.
All right.
It's very, very close. It's I think the total square footage that we're getting is about 15,000. So it's not going to be a small event this year. We're shooting for the stars. So
very cool.
First time in Boston. We want to make sure this happens every year.
Yep.
Keep it local. Keep it north.
Do you need volunteers?
Always. Anybody that wants to come out and help us, it would be absolutely amazing. We do need to it's great that we're on here because we got to start getting the name out because we got to start recouping some of these costs because I'll tell you, 15,000 square feet is not cheap. So any help we can get, we would love.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's a big learning experience for anyone that's going to be helping out as well. Because
Absolutely.
when you guys are talking about pink noise and sound analyzation, that's a science on its own. Right. So Ben, big up.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why we have Ben coming out. It's funny because the original event last year, the way it was working was the dates this year are December 5th and 6th. So the first Monday and Tuesday of December, I think. 5th and 6th of December. But it's funny how Ben got involved because when me and Chris were talking about this, we were going back and forth with Ben, what the best way to test the speakers is and stuff like that. And Ben was like, I'll set up a DSP for you. I'll send it out. And then all you got to do is hook it up and run the test and you'll be good to go. And 2 days later, he sent me his itinerary. He said, I'm just going to come to Boston.
I can tell you guys how to do this, but I'll do it myself.
He realized it's a science. And he's like,
I mean, there is literally no one better on the planet to run these kind of tests than Ben Stowe himself.
So I got a question for you. Not being able to visualize what 15,000 feet looks like. Is that bigger than the normal, say, reception room that we would play in as DJs?
Yep. So
is that a good idea to test sound in a huge area when typically we're not going to be using it in that?
Absolutely. Yep. So the way it's going is there's a main area where we're going to have our seminars and our keynote, which is about 6,800 square feet. And then we have an open, we'll call this a foyer area that's about another 3,000-ish square feet, where everybody will come in, they'll register and stuff like that. And then we have your typical conference rooms, which can be split up into 3 different areas, which is about almost 4,000 square feet. So that would be your typical large venue. And it's carpeted. It has, a area for a dance floor, and it has your typical, cloth lined walls. So, I mean, that's the perfect area for us to go in and test those.
And does it have 50-foot ceilings like some of the convention halls or
Chris, you can answer that though. It's
close to most of the convention halls that you would normally go to, a hotel and stuff like that. The ceiling height maybe a little higher than
so
that, but still, it's that same big space.
If you look at the video, Vince,
Gotcha.
the conditions are like, their testing conditions are perfect. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah,
looks great.
and that's
Yeah.
what you want to hear, especially as being a DJ.
Yeah.
You want to hear that sound
Yeah.
boosting through that gigantic room.
Exactly.
Like, how far can I bring this to the point
Right,
where
yeah,
it's
no,
no
those-
longer going to be accepted?
Yeah, the testing conditions look really cool in that video.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's one thing to go into a music store and hear the speaker from 8 feet away in an area that has 12-foot ceilings, and the room is like 400 or 500 square feet. That's not your typical usage.
At
So
best, yes, you might get the right speaker or not.
exactly,
Right.
Yeah.
exactly. So this
All
gives you the
speakers,
ability.
all speakers sound good in a room like that.
Exactly, and they can be tuned. When we test the speakers, everything's run completely flat. Everything is given the same advantage as everything else. We tune
Right.
them as flat as we can possibly get them, so that there's not an advantage from one over the other one. So you get
This
full.
is an awesome idea. This is an awesome idea, man. You
Yeah,
got
isn't it great, Vince? It
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, this was something that we did, almost 15 years ago now. Small scale, and it's just it's something that we realized hasn't been done anywhere else at any of these other seminars. Obviously these speaker manufacturers are there, but you're hearing that speaker against their other speakers. You're not hearing, an RCF against an EV or an EV against a JBL. You're not hearing, an Evolve 50 against an Evox 8 or something like that. That's not a typical testing situation that you're going to encounter in the real world.
We do something similar with Peavy in the city, though, but all the guys that have Peavy speakers, we literally set them all together in a park outside and, see what time we can play till the cops come and chase us out of there. But these are literally all the powered subs. You have like 15 of them lined up and then tops. Yeah. It's insane. And I don't even question the power and how or what. And these guys.
It was definitely
too. Even if you listen to these speakers on YouTube and stuff like that, you still don't have proper sound.
There's no sound.
Here's my question, guys, and since you had all those line array speakers, right?
The column arrays, yep.
With column arrays or column line, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And that confused.
Hey, let's use the right terms, man. Come on.
Column arrays.
I got guys calling them line arrays. I said line arrays are the ones that hang at a concert, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, which ones do you like for the money? Are the best? And when I say the best too, now I'm hooked on, and David has me hooked on the whole iPad control thing because the Peavy one, not to say I love that, but they have the LN, and the LN has an iPad system, and that really, next to the sound, obviously, price not necessarily, because I'll pay more money for better product.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. Just David showed me that the Midas 12 or the 18, whatever it was, and I'm just like, and then I've been hot for that now too. Besides, I've been hot for this column system. Really.
Yeah. I mean,
the real question though is, have you been hot for teacher?
Hey,
or smoking in the boys' room.
Look, Alex.
I mean, obviously, column arrays are like the new trend. Everybody wants column array speakers. Being in the position that me and Chris are in, as far as having direct contact with the manufacturers and trying to get them more involved than they were last year, because realistically, we only had Bose and EV that were like directly involved with, getting product there, getting reps there, and stuff like that.
Okay. I saw more. There was a bunch of them that were lined up.
Yep, but those were brought by
the DJs that brought them down. Yeah.
I'm not. But which ones did you guys like the best?
I mean, right now that the LD Maui 44 and the Bose Pro 32 absolutely blew me away.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we've experienced a lot of the Bose, especially when they first came out. A lot of our guys were getting them. Remember that, Vince?
Yeah.
You didn't like them? You don't like the Bose? I kind of like them as long as you tune them right.
Yeah, I mean, so they had the old ones. They had the L1s, which were, okay. I didn't mind the L1s, but they weren't really designed for DJs. They didn't have that music playback that the new style does. So the Pro
they were designed for musicians.
Right, they were designed for somebody with an acoustic
that's
guitar
true.
and a mic.
Truth.
The new Pro 16s and the new Pro 32s, I was absolutely astonished by, because I was expecting... I was expecting that classic Bose, muddy mid sound that you were getting out of the old style, and it's not there. It is.
When I first heard it, I'm like, this is not the Bose I know and love.
Yep. You should hear the new ones. The new ones actually they surprised me a lot, and honestly, I went from not being a huge Bose fan to being a Bose fan pretty instantly.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was actually EV M30s. I liked them because they were easy to set up. They were great for ceremonies.
Yep.
It wasn't so much I had to run back and forth to the speaker and set up the sound.
Yeah.
And after I listened to the RFCs,
I was impressed.
Yeah, RCFs, I like them better. And I heard them online. I'm like going, I sound a little too bassy. And now I hear them like going, oh, they sound awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I went for, you know.
I think they all look they all have a nice sound.
Yeah, and they're all tunable, you know, so you can tune each one of them to the room, and you can change the DSP.
I love my 15-inch PVs, my new.
I haven't heard those yet, so we're working on getting PV out this year. So
I gave him the hookup. So when Paul, and just tell Paul Greg, he'll probably bitch and yell about me, but whatever. Just say, hey, Greggy C gave me your number. Good, and then he's going to call me and why are you giving these people my number? Good, hell with Paul.
I'd love to get
Shane, you got a point, I think.
Oh, you know, I'm from the Caribbean, David. So you know, my question is coming from the line arrays compared to the full range speakers. You know, Vince just mentioned his 15-inch full range PV. I think Vince, you have a PVX 15P, right?
Yes, powered. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm from the Caribbean, and we're all about loud, right? But quality, loudness, right? When I tell David about the systems that we used to set up for our carnivals. An 18-wheeler truck or a container truck, like what you guys say, right? Like we have massive line array systems. We would have line array systems on the back of an 18-wheeler truck with.
I've seen those before.
8 subs, 8 double 18 subs, just crazy. So this is the audio that
we're going to have a party.
Yeah, and it is a party. I'm telling you about it. So when I moved here, as we all know, the column arrays is industry standard. So I kind of drifted more to the column array systems. But in the last year and a half, I found myself I'm using a JBL One Pro, JBL One Pro.
Yep.
Yeah, I still use it as my primary system right now because it has a subwoofer. But I just invested in some full range 12-inch speakers, powered as well. And I'm honestly considering switching over my main system to 2 of those 12-inch systems and an 18-inch sub because because of the frequency spectrum that it's going to cover and what I'm accustomed. I'm not going to be here in our events. We know we're not our general ballrooms. We're not blasting our volume, but I miss those 30 hertz, 40 hertz.
You miss feeling it, yeah. I get what you're saying. And honestly, a lot of people do that. You know, they'll get their column array systems, you know, whether it's the Evox 8, the Evox 12, you know, the Evolve 50 or 30, you know, or either the Bose systems or the new JBL PRX1. And, you know, they'll have those on either side, and then they'll put either a single or a double 18 down in the middle like you would normally do with, you know, full-range speakers. And that takes the sound to a completely different level. You know, it just adds that dynamic. It adds that punch in the chest. You know, it makes you feel the music like you're used to. And for the ease of transport and the ease of setting up, I mean, column array is going to be the way to go, you know, moving forward. So,
look, I think the advantage with the column array is the sound is projected all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, they come with a huge polar pattern. I mean, you know, your typical, you know, full-range speaker is going to be 90-30. You know, it's going to be 90 wide, 30 up and down. You get some of these column array speakers, they're 120 by 90. You know, so they have, you know...
One of the issues that I always get with my column array systems is the height of the column array. All right, we're talking about it spreading sound all around. Right. But what happens is when I get a massive 100 people in front of me dancing, and I go on the next side of that dance floor, I have no life.
But I mean, that's where some of the adjustable stands, like the ones that come on the RCF and Evox, the Evox line and stuff like that, comes into play because now you can raise those speakers up. You know, but if you get the JBL PRX1 or the EV30 or the EV50, you can buy additional, you know, section pieces to install in between. The amp and the speaker itself, and you can raise them up higher.
That is so true. This is why we share the knowledge here, because I never thought about that. And
I think they sell blanks to go in there. They're
exactly
they're blank.
So and if if you buy something like the Evolve 30, it actually comes with 2 different sizes. So you get a short one and a taller one. You know, but you can buy additional blanks, you know, to fit in between those and raise them up higher. Yeah, absolutely.
So one of my question was, when you guys did your shootout, I saw some actual full range speakers with 18-inch subs there, and they looked like 12-inch and 15-inch tops. Like, what was it? The sound quality. And what would you say when you compared that to your column array on the day? If you had to do a 18-inch sub, 12-inch top,
right? I would say, to answer your question, yeah, that's a great question. I would say that if you're looking for fullness of sound and you're not concerned about volume, a column array would be your way to go, because you're getting those highs and mids up top, and then you're getting those separated, you know, low ends, you know, on the bottom. Yeah. And you know, you can get 100, 120 people out of some of these column array systems with no problem. If you're looking for full range, in your face, louder than Ezra volume, you're never going to get away from, you know, a full range top and an 18-inch subwoofer. It's just not going to happen.
That's good to hear you guys say that, because, you know, I never got the opportunity to do what you guys did, and that's an amazing thing that you guys did. I have to say that. I mean, I worked in live sound for 7 years, and we did all the pink noise and all that test and the system management and going in and tuning the system every time we went to a venue, but it's always the same system. It's always the same speaker, so it's never a comparison against, okay, our system in the Caribbean was, we had an Addison line array system, or EAW full array system. This is what we use for live shows there. And we never would sit down, even in the warehouse, say, let's set up some Addisons and let's set up some EAWs and just do a frequency spectrum. Like, we were like, no, right? But that's good to know. And as I say, it's education for DJs out there, because a lot of the guys know what sounds bad. They do, because we all are blessed with these here, and we make money from these, right? I don't mean the headphones, I mean my ears. But we know what sounds bad, but sometimes we don't know what causes our system to sound bad. Right. And giving them the education of frequency spectrums and understanding their speakers, and actually showing them, okay, your speaker is lacking in mid-range here, your system is lacking in mid-range, is really, really good. And my question is, like, if I had my system there, did any of the guys like take their readings and actually incorporate it into their system, like set the DSPs?
I did. Yeah. I completely changed my setup for this year based on test results from last year. And you're actually going to laugh, because I've been a diehard JBL fan forever. You know, my main system was always 2 JBL PRX 815s with an 818 subwoofer. That was my go-to for everything. After hearing some of these speakers, I have now decided to change to an EV ETX 10P tops with matching EV ETX 15 subs.
That's the system I'm looking at.
It's crazy. It's crazy. When I tell you that the ETX 10P went toe to toe with the 815, the JBL 815, they were within 1 decibel of each other at peak.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Coming out of a 10-inch top.
What about your frequency spectrum in the 15-inch and the 18?
You're always going to get more low end from a 15-inch. I mean, that's just the way it is. You're going to get tighter bass from a 10, but you'll get deeper bass from a 15. But incorporating that with a subwoofer under each speaker, it's kind of a moot point, because at that point, you're going to roll your frequencies off at 100 decibels tops anyways. So now we're looking more at mids and highs, and the mids and highs on the 10-inch is always going to be cleaner and crisper than a 15-inch.
And what are you using, like an external crossover to do your?
I mean, you can, but I mean, the
DSP,
the internal DSP on these new speakers is just it's insane. You know, I used to use a drive rack, and I used to bring a drive rack with me everywhere. It was incorporated in my case. But now with the DSPs that are built into these speakers, there's no need to do that. You know, you can automatically cross over and delay the tops based on the sub.
Yeah. David was telling me about that. Telling me that his system does that. I'm like, wow, that's amazing, because I just invested in the same digital board, basically to be able to tune my main outputs with the parametric EQ, and At some point, I would love to get a measurement microphone or something like that. But if you guys get anyone that brings a JBL one up there and you scan it, please send me that.
Well, we had the PRX one last year, so I mean, we're hoping this year to have the new JBL Eon Pro. Was it the Mark II, the new one that just came out? We're hoping to have that out. Yeah, we're hoping to have that out here this year too.
So are you planning on incorporating videoing any of your upcoming events so you can have it available for people for download at a small price?
Chris answered that because we were thinking about that, and we have we have some access to recording.
While your thinking is over, just do it.
Yeah, we're probably going to offer a live streaming option for the people that can't make it. We're not offering it right now only because the plans aren't finalized. Right now we're just offering the hard copy tickets to come to the show. But Chris was able to work with some people, and Ben was able to offer some of his equipment and his personnel to help us, get that video aspect of things better than it was last year.
Yeah,
not just
we had a hard time, especially with the download, the upload in the space we were in Quincy. Everything was like off and on. So, and we wanted to make it better.
Forget about live streaming. If you can't make the event, click here. This was this tutorial and this
video on demand.
Yeah, that's the idea of what we're thinking about is offering
payable.
Offering it behind some kind of a small paywall. If you couldn't make it out to Harvest of Sound, you can watch.
You're trying to raise funds.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, and it's not that hard to videotape stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all. And like I said,
you pull it medium, and you press record.
Yep. And the only thing that we're really trying to figure out right now is how to depict the sound quality coming off of each speaker. Because you can watch YouTube right now and you can hear somebody testing a speaker, but it's only going to sound as good as the headphones or the speakers you're listening to them from.
Exactly.
Oh, well, they're not going to be able to get any of the quality.
Right.
If you can't make it, you lose. But what you can get is all the other information that comes from it.
Yeah, plus, so that's the plan.
Plus, you didn't come, so now you get the bonus. You actually get the survey that came from that show. And besides last year's survey, you get this year's survey of the results that came from the show.
All right. So what we're learning here is if you guys need a good manager, hire Vince, and he will definitely help you figure out all the things you probably have already
been around. He knows how to plan a show.
Hey, listen, thank you guys for being with us tonight, man. I really appreciate it. I love the fact that what you guys are doing is taking this really technical, sometimes maybe intimidating aspect that we all do, that most DJs probably are like, screw it, my brain can't even comprehend this, so I'm just not going to do anything at all about it, and creating a safe space where people can see and hear and learn and understand it. So I commend you guys for doing that. And then also bringing in the speakers and bringing in the content to really educate as well.
We're also bringing in the manufacturers themselves too. So we have the manufacturers coming out. There'll be an exhibit hall held on the last day after. I think we're going to do one or two seminars. Yeah, one or two seminars in the morning, and then we're going to have an exhibit hall, and then we actually have what we are calling the rewind party, which is the after party on the last day. Basically 6 hours of rocking out with some amazing DJs that are coming out. So we'll announce that list. Like I said, we got so far we have DJ Demand. He's going to be the headline DJ on stage during the seminars. We got Mike Villa, Gable Gazzaro. We have Dawson High coming out. So we have some of these people coming out that are going to be spinning on stage with us. And we also have some other names that we'll be announcing on that soon. So there is a lot going on in 2 days. So definitely something to check out. And we do have the tickets are on sale.
But do you have DJ Greggy C?
I mean, if he comes,
hey, Greg, are we going?
So speaking of that, Vince, before we get going, do you have anything on the plate for tonight? I mean, were you prepared?
Was I prepared?
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming at you. This is a professional show here. Look, guys, you're embarrassing me in front of our guests. You had nothing prepared for tonight. Shane had a bit. You're supposed to have a bit. You're one of our people on the spot there.
Correspondent on the street.
He had the good questions, though. So he
had a lot of good questions.
He does. Vince always has a lot of questions.
All night long.
Now he's taking a picture.
I love it.
Actually, he'll come up there. Actually, you know what? It looked like you had a cool videographer up there, but now Vince got some really nice videography skills. He'll come up there.
If Greggy comes, I'll come and do my video services for a nominal fee, like maybe a
Budweiser
or something.
A beer.
Well, we do have the bar, so the bar will be open, the last night and during the day of dinner and stuff like that. So
look, he works cheap. A Budweiser and a reach around, and he's good.
And we can get
we'll
our
find
tickets
somebody for the reach around,
Good
but I'll give
story
you
about a
Budweiser.
reach around too. Hey Dave, I
And we
want
can
to
get our
tell you,
tickets right there on that website.
I have
What's
the
that?
MC7000, and I still like it. I'm with you, man.
Oh,
I
nice.
played on it
Yeah,
on
dude.
Saturday.
Pioneer, but I love the Denon. It's the
Yeah, it's
best.
just easy to work with, man. It's easy to work with. I'm not. I mean, all those guys you just mentioned, they can run circles around me when it comes to mixing and all that stuff. But where I was brought up, it was kind of more about the emceeing and all of that stuff, and just let the music do what it does, and just MC the event. And a lot of these guys are like on point on both of those, but somehow I figured out how to make it work without having to learn all that nonsense. So I'm okay
we all
with that.
did. Don't worry
All right,
about it.
I got an ask question. How many people here actually dance when they actually DJ?
Ooh,
Raise a hand.
sometimes I do, man. I will say sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm from the Caribbean, dude. I dance
Yeah,
when
you
I'm
know.
here.
I mean,
always.
He'll
I
dance.
dance when I'm
He's
here.
not playing,
The ice
yeah.
machine.
Yeah, Shane dances while he's setting up and breaking down. Even
That's me, man. That's me.
No, yeah, Vince, you can't keep Vince still. I'm the guy that gets out there with the Madonna headset microphone and teaches him all these crazy ass dances too. I'm that guy. I came from that old school.
I did too. So did Chris, but we don't do those.
But yeah, I'm not jamming, but if I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I'm either bobbing my head or I'm kind of rocking with the crowd, depending upon what I'm playing.
If they're looking at you, want to go out there and you want to grab them, put them on the dance floor and show how it's all done, right?
I have an assistant that does that for me. I don't do that anymore.
yeah, there you go. I'm with you. I'm with you there, Tyler.
So for those of us that have a medical marijuana card, can you repeat those dates?
Vince is coming, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
December. I think it's December. What was it, gentlemen?
December 5th and 6th.
5th and 6th.
Yep.
And 6th in
5
Boston.
and 6.
5 and
Yeah.
6. So
Many and this many.
December 5th and 6th. You can buy tickets. They're actually on sale right now. Right now we have the early bird special still running. That runs till March.
September or December?
December.
December, Vince. All right, and doors open at 4:20 p.m. No.
20 days before Santa Claus comes.
I love it.
Anyway, so we have the early bird sale going on right now, so you can purchase them at harvestofsound.com, which is the link that's scrolling across the bottom. Right now, they're $50 off. Or if you get the company passes, which is a minimum of 4, if you buy a minimum of 4 for your company, they're $120 each. So it's $60 and $50 off respectively, and then that price is going to go back up March 31st. So if you want to come out, now's the time to buy them.
Now's the time to get the tickets. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you being on the show with us tonight.
Very cool, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Very
Shane
cool.
and Vince, as always, we appreciate your intellect. Well, Shane, your intellect. No, I'm just kidding. Vince, I'm only picking on you, man. But we appreciate you guys joining us.
Studio
tonight.
7's always here to lend an ear.
There you go.
Here we go.
And I'll tell you this much: I will be there. I'm absolutely going to be there.
Well, you love
I'm
Boston,
looking forward to
so-
seeing you guys.
Yeah.
Plus, I owe you a night out because I wasn't able to come out.
Quick story. When I was in Boston last time,
My wife
me
was
and
pregnant.
Tyler and Luke Wrenchen were supposed to be going to a Red Sox game together. And I think, what did your wife just decide to have a child or something like that? On
Something
the same
silly
day?
like that,
What
yeah.
in the world? Who
Yeah.
does
It's
that?
so spontaneous.
You
Just-
hold off
it's
on
It's
that.
one of those things, you know.
Yeah, I kept saying, can't you just make it to the game? And she can.
I
just
was
text
halfway
you?
there, literally.
He
I
was.
was
He was almost there, and he had to
15
go
minutes
back.
from Fenway. And I had to turn around and go back. What happened?
That's all right. I'll either be there before that, or I'll definitely be there for this. So we'll definitely have some good times with that.
Awesome. Definitely.
Thank you all for joining, being on the show tonight. And for those of you that are listening and maybe not able to see everything we have on the screen, you can go to harvestofsound.com, and you can get your tickets and join us up there for a hell of a 2 good days. So, all right, guys. Well, you know what? Let's try to get you on again before then,
Yeah.
and we can get some updates and things like that as we get a little closer to
Absolutely.
the show.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to
All
do
right.
it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I love this, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
Greggy,
it.
you want to close us out, buddy?
Sure. This concludes another amazing episode of In the Queue Podcast with Greg Curran and David Hanscom. Thank you to our guests once again, Tyler Wallace and Chris Carr from Harvest of Sound. Please don't forget to like our podcast and subscribe to get notified of future episodes, and follow us on social media at In the Queue Podcast. If you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you have ideas for a show topic, please email us at hello@inthequeuepodcast.com. See y'all next week, and thanks for joining us. Take care.
Guys.